I sit frozen in my parents' Portland living room, watching colored lights dance across the Christmas tree. Each ornament catches the glow differently: the hand-blown glass spheres Mom collects, the ceramic angels from Dad's mother, and tucked near the back, the salt dough star I made in 3rd grade. Mom only keeps it out of obligation. The thought pricks at me as I smooth the wrinkles from my charcoal slacks. My gifts for them sit beneath the lowest branches, carefully selected, meticulously wrapped. The vintage turntable for Dad cost 3 weeks' salary. Mom's cashmere sweater set came from that boutique she always slows down to peek into but never enters. For Marissa, concert tickets to see her favorite band. I've been planning since August. Ready for presents? Dad calls out, camera already in hand. He's wearing the red and green plaid shirt he drags out every December, the one that makes his silver hair look distinguished rather than old. Mom claps her hands together, eyes bright. Harold, make sure you get Marissa's reaction. I want to capture that exact moment. My sister bounds into the room in fuzzy socks that slide across the hardwood. At 29, she still moves like a teenager, all limbs and energy. Mom beams at her. Dad focuses the lens. I'm the backdrop to their scene. Me first, Marissa announces, reaching for the envelope Mom places in her hands. I watch her tear into it, manicured nails ripping paper. Her squeal hits a pitch that makes the dog whine from his bed in the corner. Are you serious? An AODI? She's jumping now, tears streaming. The e-tron? The actual one I showed you? Dad grins, proud and satisfied. We figured our girl deserves to ride in style. It's already in the driveway. Marissa bolts outside, trailing gratitude behind her. Mom and Dad follow, cameras ready, leaving me alone with the tree and the remaining gifts. I count to 30 before they remember I exist. Oh, Hazel. Mom pokes her head back in. Come get yours, honey. Then you can join us outside. The small box she hands me is light, wrapped in paper that doesn't match the others. I untie the ribbon slowly, sensing a familiar disappointment settling into my chest before I even see what's inside. The lid comes off to reveal a plastic container shaped like a house, a child's saving box. Through the clear plastic roof, I spot a single dollar bill curled inside. A folded note rests beneath it. This is the first dollar of your future home. I stare at the words, hearing the front door open and close, voices and laughter spilling back into the living room. Do you like it? Mom asks, expectation bright in her eyes. We know how practical you are. I force my lips into the shape they're waiting for. It's thoughtful. The word tastes like copper in my mouth. You're always talking about wanting to buy a house. Dad adds, glancing out the window where Marissa poses beside the gleaming Audi. This can motivate you to save. Your sister needs more help getting established, Mom explains, patting my knee. Her career field is so competitive, and you're already doing so well on your own. Half my monthly savings went into their gifts. The turntable Dad hasn't even unwrapped yet. The sweater Mom set aside to open later. I need to use the bathroom, I murmur, the saving box clutched in my hand. In the guest bathroom, I lock the door and stare at my reflection. Same straight brown hair I've had since college. Same sensible glasses. Same Hazel who's always been the responsible one, the reliable one, the invisible one. The plastic box feels flimsy in my hands. $1 toward a home in Portland's impossible market. $1 compared to a $66,000 car. Water splashes my face. Deep breaths steady my hands. I return to the living room wearing the expression they expect. Marissa sits cross-legged by the tree, surrounded by tissue paper and open boxes. Hazel, the tickets are amazing. Thank you. She bounces up to hug me, genuine in her gratitude. It's not her fault, I remind myself. She doesn't see what I'm finally seeing. Dinner passes in a blur of turkey and small talk. I cut my food into perfect bites while watching my family with new eyes. Mom refills Marissa's wine glass without asking. Dad leans in when she speaks, hangs on her stories about graphic design clients and social media followers. They've always been like this, orbiting her while I maintain my stable, predictable path in the outer reaches of their attention. This isn't just a plastic box with $1 inside. It's the perfect symbol of my entire life. Something shifts inside me, a tectonic plate sliding into new position. The change is invisible but absolute. After dinner, Dad takes control of the remote. Christmas vacation again this year? Could we watch It's a Wonderful Life instead? I suggest. Mom waves dismissively. Oh, that's so depressing. Christmas vacation is a tradition. I nod and smile while something hardens in my chest. When they settle in with popcorn and Baileys, I slip upstairs to my childhood bedroom. The twin bed, with its faded quilt. The bookshelf full of engineering textbooks. The desk where I studied while Marissa's music thumped through the wall. From the drawer, I pull out paper and pen. I need space. Please don't contact me. 5 minutes to pack essentials. Toiletries. 2 changes of clothes. The emergency cash I've kept since college. Downstairs, Chevy Chase's voice mingles with my family's laughter. Christmas lights cast colored shadows across the entry hall. I place my note on the side table, under the bowl where they keep their keys. The side door opens without a sound. Cold air rushes in, carrying the scent of pine and possibility. I close the door on 35 years of trying to be enough. In the driveway, I step carefully around the gleaming new Audi to reach my sensible sedan. They won't notice I'm gone until morning. Snowflakes dance in my headlights as I drive south on I-5. The windshield wipers beat a steady rhythm, marking time like a metronome. 3 hours since I walked out. 3 hours of freedom that tastes like copper pennies on my tongue. The radio plays, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," as I pass the Salem city limits. The irony isn't lost on me. I twist the volume knob until Bing Crosby's voice fades to nothing. Something hot and foreign slides down my cheek. I touch it, surprised to find tears. When was the last time I cried? The dashboard clock reads, 11:42 p.m. December 25th is almost over, and with it, 35 years of hoping. My mind wanders back to my 12th birthday. Mom ordered Little Caesar's pizza, the $5 special. Dad gave me a calculator for college preparation. Marissa complained about the cheese sticking to her braces. I still have a photo from that day, me smiling at a chocolate cake with mismatched candles, grateful for the attention. 6 months later, Marissa turned 10. They rented a bouncy castle, hired a magician, and served catered finger sandwiches with the crusts removed. Dad took the day off work. Mom hand-addressed 30 invitations on cream-colored cardstock. "Your sister needs more encouragement," Mom explained when I asked why my party had been so different. "She's sensitive. You've always been so independent." Independent, the word they used when they meant invisible. 4 years later, Marissa's Sweet 16 featured a hired DJ, catered food, and a brand new iPhone. My 16th birthday present had been permission to use the family car for driving practice. I signal and pull into the rest area just north of Eugene. The parking lot is nearly empty on Christmas night. I cut the engine and watch snow accumulate on the windshield, burying the world outside in peaceful white. My phone buzzes. I stare at it lying on the passenger seat, wondering if they've finally noticed my absence. 3 hours and 17 minutes after I walked out the door, I picked it up. Not a concerned call from Mom or Dad. A text message. "Don't forget to pay the internet bill before you leave town tomorrow. The login information is in my desk drawer. Mom." I laugh, the sound hollow in the quiet car. Another message appears beneath it. "The furnace made that noise again. Can you look at it tomorrow before you head back to Seattle? Dad." Not one question about where I am. Not one hint of concern that I disappeared from their house on Christmas night. Just tasks. Requirements. Responsibilities. The irony is they didn't even enter my room to find the message I wrote, or to see whether I am still sleeping there or not. The truth crystallizes like ice forming on a window. I'm not their daughter. I'm their manager. When I was 8, Dad taught me to operate the washing machine. By 10, I was doing everyone's laundry, separating Marissa's delicates while she played with friends. At 13, I learned how to reset the circuit breakers when the power went out. By 15, I was handling the family's monthly budget spreadsheet. College brought student loans that I'm still paying off at 35. Meanwhile, Marissa attended art school on my parents' dime because creative careers need support. They paid for her essential European tour to study design influences. Called it an investment in her future. I graduated with honors in structural engineering. They missed the ceremony because Marissa had a dance recital the same weekend. She'd be devastated if we weren't there. Mom said, "You understand." I always understood. I always forgave. I always showed up. My first apartment featured secondhand furniture and dishes from Goodwill. Marissa's first place came with a housewarming gift of kitchen appliances and a leather sofa from Mom and Dad. She needs help getting established, they explained. I dial Sabrina's number before I can talk myself out of it. She answers on the second ring, sleep thick in her voice. Hazel, it's midnight. What's wrong? I left them. My voice sounds foreign to my ears, scraped raw. I walked out during Christmas vacation. The movie? Confusion colors her words. No, we were watching the movie when I left. The words catch. I finally saw it clearly, Sabrina. 35 years of hoping they'd love me equally, and they gave Marissa a $66,000 car while I got a plastic saving box with $1 in it. Silence stretches between us. Then, where are you now? Rest stop outside Eugene. Come to San Francisco. No hesitation in her voice. The guest room is yours as long as you need it. I'll even meet you halfway if you want company for the drive. My throat tightens. You'd do that? Of course I would. You're family to me, Hazel. Family. The word lands differently now. I can make it on my own. The phrase feels familiar on my tongue. How many times have I said those words? But thank you. I'd love to stay with you for a few days. As long as you need, she repeats firmly. Text me your ETA. I'll have coffee ready. After we hang up, I sit watching snowflakes melt against the windshield. All those years thinking independence was strength, when really it was just isolation dressed up as virtue. I remember being 9, making my own breakfast while Mom styled Marissa's hair for school pictures. Being 14, teaching myself algebra from a textbook because Dad was busy coaching Marissa's soccer team. Being 23, fixing my parents' roof over Thanksgiving while they took Marissa shopping. I punched San Francisco into the GPS. Estimated arrival, 7:15 a.m. For the first time in my life, I'm making a decision just for me. The plastic saving box sits on the passenger seat, that single dollar visible through the clear plastic roof. I'll keep it not as a reminder of what I lacked, but as proof of what I'm worth. I pull back onto the highway, heading south through the snowfall, toward Sabrina, toward something new. Behind me, Portland grows smaller in the rearview mirror. I don't look back. The next morning, the San Francisco skyline materializes through morning fog like an apparition. Skyscrapers pierce the cotton-soft barrier between earth and heaven. My fingers grip the steering wheel tighter as the GPS announces my arrival. 35 years of pretending everything was fine have led to this moment. Sabrina stands in her apartment doorway, arms outstretched. The sight of her reliable, honest Sabrina with her wild curls and understanding eyes breaks something loose inside me. You made it, she says simply. I manage a nod before my body betrays me. The sob comes from somewhere primal, somewhere I've locked away since childhood. Sabrina guides me into her kitchen where sunlight pools across terracotta tiles. My knees buckle. I brought $1, I whisper nonsensically, clutching my bag. They gave me $1 for Christmas. Sabrina kneels beside me. Let it out, Hayes. Let it all out. And I do. Years of silent disappointments crash through me. The birthdays spent making my own cake, while Mom decorated Marissa's with professional precision. The college graduation my parents skipped for Marissa's summer showcase. The constant, Hazel will handle it, whenever something broke or bills needed paying. I've been invisible my entire life, I say between ragged breaths. That night I sleep 10 dreamless hours on Sabrina's guest bed. The weight of obligation lifts just enough to let exhaustion claim me completely. Morning arrives with the scent of coffee and permission to feel what I've denied myself for decades. Anger. You have every right to be furious, Sabrina says, sliding a steaming mug across the counter. What they did wasn't just thoughtless, it was cruel. I wrap my hands around the warmth. I don't know who I am without them defining me. That's exactly what we're going to find out. That day later, I went out for a walk to see what I will do next. The cafe sits 3 blocks from Sabrina's apartment. Café Nuevo. The owner, Claudia Vega, serves cappuccinos with foam art, so detailed it feels criminal to disturb it. First week in the city? She asks, noticing my tentative posture. First week away from my family. I answer truthfully. Claudia slides into the chair across from me, her silver-streaked hair pulled into a practical bun. I left Puerto Rico when I was 19. My father thought daughters belonged at home until marriage. How did you know it was right to leave? When staying hurt more than the fear of going. She pats my hand. Blood makes you related, Hazel. Love and respect make you family. The words settle into my bones, simple, and profound. 3 days later, I made an appointment with Dr. Eleanor Morgan, who specializes in family dynamics. Her office smells like sandalwood and features exactly 0 motivational posters. I sit awkwardly on her plush sofa, explaining the saving box, the Audi, the years of disparity. "Tell me about Christmas morning, right before the gifts." She says, "I was hopeful. I always am. Isn't that ridiculous? 35 years of evidence, and I still believed this time might be different." Dr. Morgan doesn't tell me I'm overreacting or that family is complicated. Instead, she says, hope isn't ridiculous. The way they've normalized toxic behavior, island. By the second session, I understand why I've spent my life trying to earn love that should have been freely given. During the 6 months that I have been in San Francisco, I have changed my life completely. At work, my supervisor Thomas Wilson arranges my transfer to the San Francisco office with surprising ease. "Your reputation precedes you," he explains. "The Tacoma Bridge renovation photos are framed in the conference room. The team's excited to have you." For the first time, my competence feels like more than a family utility. I find an apartment in Hayes Valley with bay windows and morning light that turns the hardwood floors golden. The landlord raises his eyebrows when I say yes without consulting anyone. "Don't you want to think about it?" "I've thought enough," I tell him, writing the deposit check. My first purchase is a handmade ceramic mug from a street fair, cobalt blue with flecks of copper. I buy it for no reason except that it speaks to me, a small revolution against practical considerations. At the bank, I open an account unlinked to any family member. The clerk asks for an emergency contact. "Sabrina Torres," I say without hesitation. When my few belongings arrive from Seattle, I place the plastic saving box on my new mantle. Not from shame, but as a reminder of what I'm no longer willing to accept. My phone buzzes constantly those first weeks. "Mom, where are you? We're worried sick." "Dad, this isn't like you, Hazel. Call immediately." "Mom, the furnace is making that noise again. Your father can't figure it out." "Mom, I don't understand what we did to deserve this treatment." "Dad, your mother is beside herself. Is this really necessary?" "Marissa, where are you? Mom and Dad are freaking out." The transition from demands to guilt happens faster than I expected. Dr. Morgan helps me craft a single response. "I am safe but need space." Then I join a pottery class at the community center. My fingers learn the language of clay, forgiving yet capable of memory, responsive to pressure and intention. My first bowl collapses spectacularly. My second emerges wobbly but intact. "You're a natural," says Rebecca, a retired art teacher with paint-stained fingernails. "I'm really not," I laugh. Being good immediately isn't the point. Coming back after Failure Island. The others in class know nothing of my history. They see only Hazel, the structural engineer with terrible jokes and surprising determination. They value my presence without expecting utility. At work, my first project involves retrofitting a historic theater. When I identify a more cost-effective approach that preserves the original Art Deco details, the project lead actually listens. My suggestion becomes the working plan. "This is excellent work," he says, "and nothing more is needed." Dr. Morgan helps me identify patterns the way I anticipate others' needs before my own, how I retreat from conflict, the constant apologies for taking up space. "Notice when you make yourself smaller," she suggests. I begin standing straighter. My voice grows firmer. I buy clothes in colors beyond practical gray and beige. Small changes, visible only to those paying attention. Then Marissa texts, "Dad lost his job. They might lose the house. They're too proud to tell you." The familiar urge to rescue rises in my throat, to drain my savings, to solve the problem, to be the responsible one again. In Dr. Morgan's office, I pace. If I don't help, what kind of person does that make me? "Emergencies don't invalidate boundaries," she says calmly. "Supporting them financially now would re-establish the exact dynamic you're working to change." I send Marissa information about unemployment benefits and mortgage assistance programs. Then I do something unprecedented. I acknowledge their situation without assuming responsibility for it. "I'm sorry to hear about Dad's job. That must be stressful for everyone. Here are some resources that might help." That evening, I reach into my wallet and remove a single dollar bill. I open the saving box and place it beside the original dollar. "Not for them," I whisper to my empty apartment. For me, the dollar sits there no longer a symbol of what I lack, but of what I'm finally giving myself, permission to invest in my own life first. Outside my window, fog reclaims the city skyline, but inside these walls, everything is perfectly, surprisingly clear. The potted begonia on my windowsill stretches toward June sunlight, its crimson blooms unfurling with quiet determination. 6 months ago, even before the family drama, I couldn't keep a cactus alive. Now my apartment brims with growing things, evidence of roots I'm finally putting down. I trace my finger along the clay bowl I made last month, its slightly lopsided rim, more beautiful for its imperfection. My shelves display a dozen similar pieces, each marking another week of showing up for myself. Sabrina calls my pottery tangible therapy. My phone buzzes with a text from Thomas. Team celebration at Louie's tonight. Your bridge design modifications saved us $1.3 million. Senior project manager looks good on you, Lewis. The promotion came through last week. I still haven't told my parents. In the kitchen, I drop another dollar into the plastic house, now half filled with green bills. Each one represents a maintained boundary, a declined call, an unanswered guilt trip, a moment when I chose myself. The cheap plastic that once felt like an insult now stands as monument to my growth. Ready? Claudia calls from my entryway, jangling her car keys. Thursday night dinner with friends has become sacred ritual. 6 of us gathered initially through Claudia's cafe connections, all transplants, rebuilding life patterns, all celebrating each other's small victories. Coming. I call back, grabbing my jacket. I made brownies. Did you remember the walnuts this time? Claudia asks as we head down the stairs. Double portion. I wrote it on my hand so I wouldn't forget. Double portion. Claudia laughs. 6 months ago, you would have apologized for breathing too loud. Look at you now, throwing in extra nuts without permission. Dr. Morgan would call this progress identifying patterns without shame. Yesterday's session focused on my reflexive need to compensate for taking up space. Your existence isn't an inconvenience requiring constant justification, she'd reminded me. The words still feel foreign, but less impossible than before. Later that evening, after dinner and wine and stories that leave my sides aching, I return home to find an envelope in my mailbox. No return address, but I recognize Marissa's looping handwriting immediately. My stomach tightens as I slide my finger under the flap. The instinct to brace for impact remains, though the impact itself has dulled with distance. 3 pages of her floral stationery unfold in my hands. Hazel, Hazel. I never realized how unfair things were until you weren't here to balance them. It's like you were holding up a beam none of us knew existed, and when you stepped away, everything collapsed. The Audi got repossessed last month. Dad's retirement account is emptied. Mom cries when she thinks no one's listening. They're selling the house. I'm not telling you this to make you come back or fix anything. For the first time, I'm seeing clearly what they expected from you all these years. I miss my sister. Not the one who handled everything while I took the spotlight. The one I never properly got to know because I was too busy accepting the role they cast me in. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. No expectations. Just listening for once. Marissa. I read it twice more before setting it on my counter. My hands don't shake. My chest doesn't ache. 6 months ago, this letter would have sent me racing back to Portland, checkbook open, responsibilities shouldered once more. Tonight, I fold it carefully and place it in my desk drawer. Tomorrow I'll respond with compassion but without assuming responsibility for problems I didn't create. The wedding invitation arrives 3 days later. Cream-colored envelope with gold embossing cousin Natalie's upcoming nuptials. Family gatherings were once battlegrounds where I fortified everyone else's happiness at the expense of my own. This one will be different. You don't have to go, Sabrina says when I mention it over coffee. Family obligations aren't prison sentences. I want to. I surprise myself by saying, Natalie was always kind to me, and I need to show myself I can be around them without reverting to old patterns. I spend an afternoon with Dr. Morgan strategizing healthy engagement. Remember, you're not responsible for managing their emotions, she emphasizes. Their discomfort with your boundaries is information for them, not marching orders for you. The weekend before the wedding, I shop for something that feels like the woman I'm becoming, a forest green dress with structured shoulders and a flowing skirt. Nothing like the beige cardigans and sensible slacks that once formed my protective coloration. I'll come with you. Sabrina offers that evening, scrolling through hotels near the venue. Moral support and emergency extraction services included. My laugh comes easily now. Book the room. But I might not need rescuing this time. 2 days before we leave, I call Natalie. After pleasantries about wedding details, her voice drops. I should warn you, Aunt Lorraine and Uncle Harold have been telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown. That's why they say you disappeared. My fingers tighten around the phone, but my voice remains steady. I expected as much. What really happened, Hazel? Genuine curiosity, not accusation. I tell her about the saving box, about 35 years of lopsided expectations, about boundaries necessary for my survival. That tracks. Natalie says finally. They always talked about Marissa like she hung the moon and you like you were the family calculator necessary but not particularly interesting. I'm both necessary and interesting, I say, the words still new on my tongue. Just not in the way they needed me to be. 2 days later, the drive north with Sabrina feels like traversing more than geographic distance. We sing along to 80 Seconds power ballads and stop for ridiculous roadside attractions. Portland's familiar skyline emerges through evening fog. Beautiful, but no longer mine. Our hotel room overlooking the Willamette River becomes base camp for the weekend's operations. I unpack my carefully selected outfit, setting out jewelry that would have seemed flashy to old Hazel, but feels just right to new Hazel. My phone chimes with a text from Marissa. Can we talk before the wedding? Just us? You don't owe her your time. Sabrina reminds me, flopped across one of the double beds. I know, and I do know, bone deep in a way impossible 6 months ago, but I'm curious what she has to say. I text back, agreeing to coffee tomorrow morning, neutral ground, limited time frame, boundaries intact. Through the hotel window, I watch boat lights ripple across the river's surface, each one charting its own course through the current, just as I'm learning to navigate mine. The next day, the coffee shop buzzes with morning customers. I arrive 15 minutes early, securing a corner table with clear sightlines to both exits. Old habits. The oversized ceramic mug warms my palms as I watch the door, rehearsing responses to whatever version of Marissa might appear. When she walks in, I almost don't recognize her. Gone are the designer jeans and carefully highlighted hair. This Marissa wears faded khakis and a plain sweater, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. No statement jewelry, no artfully applied makeup. She scans the room with darting eyes until she spots me, her shoulders dropping with visible relief. You came, she says, sliding into the seat across from me. I wasn't sure. I push a second mug toward her. I ordered your usual. Thanks. Her fingers tap against the table edge. I don't even know where to start. How about with why you wanted to meet? She takes a long sip, eyes closing briefly. When she looks up, something unfamiliar lurks behind her expression. Humility. The Audi got repossessed. The words tumble out. 3 months ago. I couldn't make the payments anymore. I maintain a neutral expression, though something sharp and vindicating flickers in my chest. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not, she says, a ghost of her old smile appearing. And you shouldn't be. It was ridiculous. I never should have accepted it. Why did they buy it for you in the first place? Mom and Dad remortgaged the house. She looks down at her coffee. They didn't tell me that part until the bank started sending notices. The house goes up for sale next month. The vindication in my chest sours into something heavier. They remortgaged for a car? And my condo down payment? And that trip to Spain last year? She runs a finger around the rim of her mug. I never questioned where the money came from. I just took. I study my sister's face, searching for the manipulation I've learned to expect. Instead, I find genuine distress. Hazel, I was part of hurting you, even if I didn't see it. Her voice cracks. When you left, everything fell apart. Mom couldn't function. Dad lost himself again. And I realized how much you'd been holding everything together. That wasn't my job, Marissa. No, it wasn't. But we made it your job, then punished you for doing it. She reaches across the table, stopping just short of touching my hand. I'm sorry. 6 months ago, those words would have unlocked everything. Now, they're just words that needed saying. Thank you for telling me, I say. But this doesn't fix things. I know. She withdraws her hand. I just wanted you to hear it from me before the wedding." That afternoon, the wedding venue sparkles with afternoon sunlight when we arrive. White rose petals carpet the aisle between rows of ribbon-adorned chairs. I spot Mom and Dad near the front, their heads bent together in conversation. Dad's hair has gone completely silver, and Mom looks thinner, the bones of her shoulders pressing against her dress. Sabrina gives my hand a quick squeeze. "Remember, you're not responsible for their feelings." I nod, straightening my shoulders as we make our way toward the seating area. The dress I chose for today, emerald green with clean lines, feels like armor. 3 relatives spot me simultaneously, their eyes widening as they register the changes 8 months have wrought. "Hazel!" Aunt Patricia hurries over. "My goodness, look at you." Others turn. Conversations halt. In the sudden attention, I feel neither triumph nor anxiety, just calm certainty about my place in the world. Mom spots me, her hand flying to her throat. She rushes forward, tears already forming. "Hazel, baby." Her arms reach for me. "We've missed you so much." I step back slightly, accepting her hands but not her embrace. "Hello, Mom." Her smile falters but holds. "You look beautiful. Different." "I am different," I say simply. Dad approaches with caution, his handshake formal. "Good to see you, Hayes." "You too, Dad." His eyes skitter away from mine, finding safety in the distance. "Your sister said you'd be here." "Yes, we spoke this morning." The conversation stalls, 3 decades of family patterns suddenly useless in this new reality. We're saved by the wedding coordinator announcing it's time to be seated. After the ceremony, we find ourselves at the same restaurant table, trapped in the social expectations of family celebration. I've chosen a chair by the window, easy access to fresh air should I need it. Sabrina sits at another table, close enough to catch my eye but respecting my need to handle this alone. Mom tries several conversational openings about the weather, the bride's dress, the centerpieces. Dad studies the menu with unnecessary focus. Marissa watches me with newfound awareness. "The salmon looks good," Mom says too brightly. "Hazel, remember how you always loved their salmon? I prefer their vegetable risotto now. 6 months of changes, large and small." "Oh." Her smile tightens. "When did that happen?" "People change, Mom." I take a sip of water. Preferences evolve. "Well," she sighs, placing her napkin in her lap with precise movements. "Some changes are harder to understand than others, like your overreaction at Christmas." The restaurant noise dims around us. Marissa's eyes widen in warning. Dad's gaze locks onto his water glass. My overreaction. My voice remains quiet, but something in its quality causes nearby conversations to falter. "Is that what you call it?" "Sweetheart, you left without a word, over a little saving box." Her voice wavers between defensive and placating. "We were worried sick." I place my hands flat on the table. Let me be very clear about what happened at Christmas and every day before it. I feel strangely calm as I recount specific instances, each one landing like a pebble dropping into still water. The time they missed my engineering honors ceremony for Marissa's community theater performance, the college tuition disparities, the constant expectation that I would solve family problems while Marissa remained blissfully unburdened. And then Christmas, I continue. A $66,000 car versus a plastic box with $1 inside. It wasn't about the gifts. It was about seeing clearly, for the first time, that this pattern would never change unless I changed it. Mom's tears flow freely now. Dad stares at his hands, knuckles white around his fork. "She's right, Mom." Marissa's voice surprises us all. We all know she island. A heavy silence settles over the table. Mom's mouth opens and closes, decades of justifications finding no purchase. "If we want to have any relationship moving forward," I say, "it must be built on respect and equality. I won't accept anything less." "We never meant," Mom begins. "Intent doesn't erase impact," I interrupt gently. "I need acknowledgement of these patterns without excuses." Dad clears his throat. "You're right." His voice sounds rusty, unused. "We failed you, Hazel. I failed you. There's no excuse for that." Mom struggles visibly, caught between defensiveness and the desperation to reconnect. "It wasn't intentional," she whispers. "I know," I say. "But it happened all the same. and it can't happen anymore. I rise from the table, smoothing my dress. I love you all, but I no longer need your approval to value myself. Their faces blur as I turn away, walking not in anger but in quiet strength. The weight of responsibility for their emotions slides from my shoulders with each step. Outside, Sabrina waits by her car, hand raised for a high five. "I'm so proud of you," she says as our palms connect. Behind us, the restaurant door remains closed, my family processing a new reality without my emotional management for the first time. "Me too," I say, and mean it completely. A year after I left that Christmas night, I stood at my San Francisco apartment window, watching December fog swirl around the twinkling city lights. The scent of cinnamon and pine filled the air as my guests laughed in the living room behind me. My Christmas tree small, but mine sparkled with ornaments I've chosen myself, each one a tiny rebellion against the coordinated perfection of my parents' holiday decorations. "Hazel, you're missing the eggnog debate," Sabrina calls, her voice warm with the friendship that carried me through this year of metamorphosis. I turn to take in the scene my chosen family gathered in the home I've created. Claudia from the cafe refills wine glasses while debating with two colleagues from my engineering firm. Graham, the architect I've been dating for 3 months, catches my eye and winks. On the wall hangs a framed photo of the bridge project I now lead. Beside it, the plastic saving box sits on a shelf, now filled with dollar bills, one for each boundary maintained, each healthy choice made. "Coming," I say, just as my phone buzzes with an incoming video call from Marissa. "Put her on the big screen," Sabrina suggests, dimming the music. My sister's face appears, framed by the modest apartment she moved to after the Audi was repossessed. Our weekly calls have built something new between us, a relationship based on mutual respect rather than competition. "Merry Christmas, sis," she says, holding up the book of photography I sent her. "It's perfect. And did you get mine yet?" "Just this morning," I confirm, pointing to the vintage engineering compass displayed on my bookshelf. "It's exactly what I wanted." Our conversation flows easily now, no longer shadowed by the inequality that once stood between us. When we hang up, there's another call waiting my parents. I take this one privately in my bedroom, settling on the edge of my bed. They appear on screen, sitting stiffly in their new, smaller house. The distance between us is both physical and emotional, but the rawness has healed into something manageable. The sweaters fit perfectly, my father says, wearing the forest green one I shipped last week. The gift cost exactly what I could comfortably afford, no more, no less. And the cookie recipe book is wonderful, Mom adds, her smile genuine if still tentative. We talk for 15 minutes, the right amount of time for our new relationship. When we hang up, I rejoin my gathering, feeling lighter instead of drained. Later, Graham helps me clean up as the others leave with hugs and promises to meet for New Year's. "I've been thinking about that beach trip we discussed," he says, his hands soapy from washing dishes. "April might work better than March." I nod, appreciating how he states preferences without demanding compliance. April sounds perfect. After he leaves with a kiss that promises more, I notice a package I missed earlier. Inside is a framed photo of me at my college graduation, cap askew, smile wide with a note in my father's handwriting. "We found this while moving. You've always made us proud, even when we didn't show it properly." I place it beside the saving box, past and present in conversation with each other. Tomorrow, I'll meet the disadvantaged girls I mentor through an engineering program, showing them how to build bridges, both literal and metaphorical. I add another $1 to the saving box, not for a house now, but for a beach cottage I've been eyeing. The $1 wasn't the insult. The assumption I wasn't worth more was. Standing at my window again, I watch San Francisco glitter below me. Family is what we make it, what we demand of it, what we allow it to be. The invisible child has become gloriously, defiantly visible even to herself.